Robert sat alone in a poorly lit living room, his mind wandering through the corridors of memories that brought him back to a time when he and Melissa were inseparable. They met a long time ago, when life was easier, and the world seemed full of possibilities. Their story began in a bizarre coffee shop, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the laughter of people sharing stories. Robert was drawn to Melissa's warmth and infectious smile. As they sipped their coffee, the conversations proceeded effortlessly, and an undeniable bond blossomed between them. The early years of their relationship were a whirlwind of adventure and shared dreams. They built a life together, creating a home filled with love, laughter, and dreams of the future. However, over time, the routine of daily life affected their once vivid connection. Both Robert and Melissa found themselves entangled in the demands of work, duties, and worldly problems that inevitably arise in life. The spark that once ignited their love began to flicker, overshadowed by the monotony of the routine and the pressure they faced individually. Misunderstandings became more frequent, and the laughter that used to fill their house gave way to uncomfortable silence. The dreams they once shared were now distant echoes drowned out by the noise of life's demands. Robert couldn't pinpoint exactly when things started to fall apart, but he felt the distance between them was growing. The love that was once the foundation of their relationship seemed to be slipping away, leaving a void none of them knew how to fill. One evening, as they sat opposite each other at the dinner table, Robert looked into Melissa's eyes and saw a reflection of sadness that reflected his own. That's when he realized they needed to confront the issues that had crept into their relationship, threatening to break it up. With a heavy heart, Robert offered advice, hoping they could rediscover the love that brought them together in the first place. Melissa hesitated at first, but deep down she too felt a strain on their relationship. They decided to give him a chance, unravel the nodes formed over the years, and find a way back to each other. During the sessions, they began to talk about their fears, aspirations, and the unspoken struggle that created walls between them. The consultant provided them with the tools to communicate more effectively, understand each other's needs, and ignite the flames that once burned so brightly. As Robert and Melissa worked to rebuild their relationship, they realized the need for a new beginning. The garage, once a shared dream that had become a financial burden, became a symbol of the changes they needed to make. Together, they decided to sell the garage and use the proceeds to start a new chapter in their lives. However, finding a buyer turned out to be more difficult than they expected. Melissa worked tirelessly to sell the property, but potential buyers seemed elusive. The local market was sluggish, and the unique nature of the garage made it niche property. Weeks turned into months, and frustration began to seep into their renewed sense of hope. Robert, ever an optimist, urged Melissa to stay patient, assuring her that the right customer would come. Nevertheless, over time, the financial burden has greatly affected them. One evening, as they sat in their cozy living room, Melissa shared her struggles with Robert. "I feel like we're stuck, Robert. We have made progress in our relationship, but this garage is a constant reminder of the challenges we face. I just want to start over for both of us." Robert nodded knowingly as he glanced at the flickering flames in the fireplace. "I know, Mel. We're in it together and we'll figure it out. A garage sale is just a little bump on the road. Something good will come to us." Determined to ease Melissa's burden, Robert decided to take a more active role in the sales process. He researched the local property market, attended networking events, and even reached out to potential buyers. Despite his efforts, finding the right match for the garage remained elusive. When the months stretched for a year, doubts began to crawl in their heads. What if they are destined to be permanently attached to this property? Uncertainty cast a shadow over their new optimism, testing the strength of their relationship once again. At the moment of vulnerability, Robert and Melissa sat down to reassess their options. They considered lowering the asking price, renovating the garage to make it more attractive, or even exploring alternative ways to use the space. Each option had its own set of problems and uncertainties. Confusion and curiosity gnawed at Robert when he discovered Melissa had hired a photographer to shoot images of the garage. The revelation came as a surprise, leaving him with a mix of emotions ranging from curiosity to a touch of suspicion. Why did Melissa hire a photographer without telling him? Determined to solve the mystery, Robert approached Melissa one evening. While they were alone in the living room, he carefully selected words, wanting to express his feelings without accusing her of anything. "Mel, I noticed the photographer working on the garage. It took me by surprise. Can we talk about it?" Melissa, feeling the tension in the air, took a deep breath before responding. Robert, I wanted to capture the memories we shared in this space. The garage has a lot of history for us, both good and challenging times. I thought it would be a meaningful way to keep those moments going before we let it go. While Robert understood the feelings behind Melissa's decision, the feeling of pain persisted. The fact that she did not communicate her intentions raised suspicions. Mel, I understand. But why didn't you tell me that? It felt like a mystery, and we promised to be open with each other. Melissa looked into Robert's eyes, realizing the impact of her actions. I didn't want to burden you with detail. I thought it would be a surprise, a way to capture the essence of our journey without adding more stress. I had to communicate better, and I'm sorry. Robert appreciated Melissa's honesty, but some of him still felt the need to understand the role of the photographer more deeply. He asked, "Who's the photographer? I would like to meet them and understand the vision behind the photos." Melissa nodded as she acknowledged the need for transparency. "His name is Alex. He is a local photographer, known for capturing beauty in ordinary spaces." The revelation hit Robert like a tidal wave, leaving him stunned and betrayed. As he dug deeper into the truth, he uncovered a painful reality. Melissa had been having an affair with the photographer, Alex, and the meeting at the cafe was not their first encounter. Fury and heartbreak clashed within Robert as he confronted Melissa with the painful truth. Their once shared memories of the garage now seemed tainted, overshadowed by the betrayal that had unfolded within its walls. The confrontation was emotionally charged, with accusations, tears, and shattered trust. In the following days, Robert wrestled with a whirlwind of emotions. The pain of betrayal fueled a desire for revenge, a yearning to inflict the same anguish upon Melissa that he felt in his heart. However, as the initial shock began to subside, Robert recognized the destructive path revenge would lead him down. Instead, he chose a different course of action. In the midst of the emotional turmoil, Robert reached out to a therapist to help navigate the complexities of the situation. Together, they explored the pain, anger, and grief that accompanied the dissolution of his marriage. The therapist provided a safe space for Robert to process his emotions and find healthier ways to cope. As Robert grappled with the emotional aftermath, he made the difficult decision to confront Melissa and initiate divorce proceedings. The process was painful, marked by heated discussions over shared assets and the unraveling of the life they had built together. Friends and family stood as witnesses to the dissolution of a once promising union, as the couple that had weathered so much together now faced an irreparable rift. The divorce brought a sense of closure, but the scars of betrayal ran deep. Robert sought solace in the support of friends, leaning on them during the darkest moments. While revenge remained a fleeting thought, he ultimately chose a path of healing and personal growth. In the aftermath of the divorce, Robert dedicated himself to rebuilding his life. He focused on self-improvement, rediscovering his passions, and nurturing the relationships that had stood the test of time. The garage, once a symbol of shared dreams, became a distant memory, its significance overshadowed by the painful chapter it had come to represent. As time passed, Robert found strength and resilience. The wounds healed, albeit leaving behind scars that served as a reminder of the challenges faced and overcome. The bitter taste of betrayal slowly faded, replaced by a newfound sense of self and a commitment to embrace the future with an open heart. The story of Robert and Melissa served as a cautionary tale, a narrative of love, loss, and the complexities of human relationships. As Robert moved forward, he carried the lessons learned from his past into a future that held the promise of growth, self-discovery, and the possibility of a love untainted by betrayal.